we must resume the proceedings. I think I will recommend to the ICA Congress Committee, the next one, to have a whip committee. Yeah. I think it's... So, well, instead of half an hour, you only have 20 minutes to talk. Oh my God. 45. Actually, it says 40 here, so you can have 5 for Q&A. So, ladies and gentlemen, how many people? Oh, come on. You are here. So you are here, we can start. Well, just a little bit of a housekeeping for tonight. Stuffing sausages as usual. There is no bus tonight for the gala dinner. It's formal, so dresses, jewelry, dark suits, polished shoes, with a shower before, preferably. And it starts at 8 o'clock in this very building, in this ballroom. And a lot of surprises are awaiting us. So it's going to be, as usual, a wonderful gala dinner, especially because it will be spiced by Brazilian hospitality. I keep hearing the bell, but nobody obeys the bell anymore. But anyway, we must resume our proceedings. By the way, guys, who of you are going to the mine tours? Okay, already many are. I have an announcement for the mine tours when the room is more filled up. And you guys are so lucky. I have to travel to Germany, and going to the mines, it's actually the best. You will have a great time, let me tell you. And I envy you. Well, the next speaker of our packed session of this Congress is not Elle Hill, as I usually call you, it's Elle Hill. She's a very, very well-known entrepreneur. She's founder and CEO of Hill & Company. She has been, over the last 3 decades, helping businesses to grow, and with a strategic plan. And some of those businesses have actually grown on a 40% per year growth. She's a great speaker, very engaging and very sharp in what is relevant for the jewelry industry. She has been working close to Sibjo, working also with Rappaport, and also with big brands like Blue Nile. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to call to the stage Elle Hill.
Hi. I am going to wait half a moment because I can tell that that bell lady is doing her job, but not a lot of people are listening to her. So I want to make sure that we have a moment before we begin so that everybody hears the start of the story, because it ties right back to the end of the story. And I don't want anyone to miss the beginning, Rui. It's really important, right? Okay. My name is Elle Hill, and I wanted a door. People ask me all the time, how did I start my now 30-year career in the diamond, gemstone, and jewelry business? And the answer is, I wanted a door. I had graduated from university, and I was living on the couch of my girlfriend on Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn, in New York City, and a receptionist job or a job as a waitress was not going to get me a door in New York City. An employment agency sent me to Andon International. And the owner there, Ofer Azrieland, sold gem set jewelry to the major retailers in the American market. He could make upwards of 35% gross product margin easily, because he wasn't selling a product with a price list. He was selling gemstones when everyone else was chasing diamonds. And I learned something. As I became his top-selling wholesale sales rep with my wheelie bag full of $1 million worth of samples traveling around America, I began to sell $20 million a year for him. And the biggest lesson I learned from him is that what you have to do to capture your clients is be uniquely positioned to solve a problem for or create an opportunity for them. That's the ticket. And that's how Ofer helped me get my door. And I'm going to talk about that door a little bit later in this conversation. We have reduced our carrying value of De Beers by $2.9 billion, said the CEO of Anglo American. This is a pivotal juncture for the diamond industry. Not only has lab-grown captured 20% plus of the market, but De Beers is reducing their prices by 15% plus. This is a time when the traditional diamond market is undergoing huge transformation. The gemstone industry is comparatively less organized, but we're set to double by 2032. And 80% of our products are sourced from artisanal miners. We have a future here. And the cracks in the diamond wall are not just their problems. They are the doorways to opportunities for the gemstone industry. So what I want to do in the next half hour is look at how we can help lead that navigation through those doors. What are we going to use? What's our strengths, right? We have so many. So I'm not going to take 4 hours or Rui might kill me. I'm going to talk about these 4 that I think are particularly impactful to the story, the message, and the margins. And the first one is storytelling. I had the luxury in March to be in Israel with Dennis Campbell, helping the Israeli Diamond Exchange and the government of Israel with their diamond strategy for their diamond industry. And we got to go to the old town in Jerusalem, walk the streets, see the Muslim quarter, the Christian quarter, the Jewish quarter. And I saw these pendants in a shop window, and they were iridescent blue mosaics. They were so beautiful. And the shop owner said to me, these were excavated from archaeological digs that date back to the Roman times. And then he put it in my hand and he said, how does it feel? How does it feel to hold that? I felt unique, special, like I had access to something I wasn't privy to before. And he produced a certificate to show me. That was some kind of storytelling. And that was glass. Imagine that storytelling around natural gemstones that have taken thousands of years for the earth to produce. That is the power that we have. Scarcity. Diamonds can be mined or produced in labs all around the globe. And let's take gemstones. Let's take tanzanite, for example. That is a one-location wonder. Once those mines near Kilimanjaro close, that's it. There's no second chances. That is not just scarcity, that is geological exclusivity. Any maison in Paris would kill for that kind of exclusivity. We have the corner on that market. Sustainability. Now, sustainability is not contained to only CO2 emissions. 2 years ago, a young woman named Asha was standing on a hill in Tanzania, and she was holding in her hand a small green stone. Now, it wasn't much to look at, but it was the first stone that she had ever mined. And she wasn't part of a big company. There was no dynamite. There were no drills. She just had her 2 hands and her mother's tools and a local cooperative of women that had just gotten legal recognition and support. That gemstone, it helped pay for her sister's school. In a Paris showroom, 6 months later, that same stone now cut and polished, was under a spotlight as the centerpiece in a capsule collection of sustainable jewelry. The designer, she chose that stone not just because of its color, but because of its provenance, for the message of empowerment that it carried. This is sustainability in the gemstone sector. It's not just a box that we tick, it's a chain of lives that we touch through generations and from mine to market. And when we do it right, that stone multiplies in value, not just because it's beautiful, but because it's meaningful. These are a few of the big strengths that we can lean into. And some of our peers and colleagues are doing a good job of telling some of these stories. The sustainability section on the Gemstone site is significant, and they go through their 6-step process of responsible sourcing. They're communicating that story. And the collaboration between Goobelin and Everledger, fantastic, but if a tree falls in a forest and nobody heard it, it did not fall. They're telling the story. There's dozens of videos on their website to help not only buyers, but retail store reps and end consumers how to access the story of the entire blockchain chaseable journey of their gemstone. This is it in action. So who are all the people out there that we could tell these stories to? Who are all the people who could be our buyers of gemstones? I divide them into 4 major buckets. And I'm going to start with retailers and designers who built their entire world, their entire business around diamonds. They're scared. They know that gemstones are an option, but they don't know anything about them. They know it's a totally different sales process, a totally different world of terminology, a totally different language. They are scared to let go of what has been working historically, even when what has been working has stopped working as well as it once did. They need low risk, high support playbook for how to pivot into color gemstones. The young designers, they're excited. They come from fashion, e-commerce. They love to be different. They want something new. We could show them how to do that with color, but they don't know about pricing and they don't know about sourcing. So the vendors and manufacturers that give them access to all this information, they are going to have fierce loyalty from these buyers. The third bucket I like to refer to as the frustrated diamond buyer that really chased after lab grown. And they're fighting a price war every day. Their margins are deteriorating. Their consumers, their customers are confused, and the magic has gone. They want to be jewelers again. And Gemstones has the ability to bring that pride back. We can give them that opportunity. So they're there. They're hiding in plain sight. Why aren't they buying from us? It's not because, oh, actually, there's one more bucket I want to tell you about, and that's the non-traditional buyers. This is the most exciting one, actually. The non-traditional buyers of gemstones, right? So these could be holistic health retail organizations, fitness, gifting, fashion. They don't even know from diamond versus gemstone. They're non-traditional buyers, right? And they already sell to consumers that are driven by passion, driven by emotion. They're ripe for us, right? So why are all these buckets, or these 4 that I've referred to today, not buying gemstones? It's not because of lack of demand, and it's not because of lack of budget. What it is they don't think they're ready yet. Now I'm ready. They don't think they're ready yet. They think they don't know enough. They think they don't know how to source it. They think they're not sure how much inventory to take. They're not sure which stone should they use because they're used to repeatable stuff. Which shouldn't they use? So that's where we come in. If we, as vendors, suppliers, wholesalers, become educators, and we remove that friction, and we empower them to know how to deal with gemstones, then we will unlock untapped categories of buyers that we've never addressed before. And that will help us step through that door. Omi Gem does this so well. If any of you know Naveed, he marries the rarest stones with fantastic educational tools, videos, PDFs, voice notes, training virtually for not only the buyers, but also for the retail sales reps so that they know how to communicate. He gives them the words, and he's a really good example of this. So the buyers are out there. We've identified an opportunity, but an opportunity is so what, in my humble opinion? We need a playbook now. We need the map. How do we convert those potential buyers to customers that are supporting and ballyhooing gemstones? This is my game plan and what we use. The first thing is, I do not talk to my 14-year-old son the same way that I talk to my husband. That'd be a little weird. So for the same reason, you don't talk to different types of buyers with the same stories in the same language. And I'm going to put them in 4 buckets. I have a lot of buckets in the talk, so buckets are apparently very important to me. So legacy, luxury, gifting, and fashion. Oh, and don't worry, at the end there's going to be a QR code and you can get the entire slide deck if you want. So you don't have to take pictures if you don't want to, but if you do, I wore my dress. So with one puffy sleeve. Segmentation. The legacy buyers, they want to know about value. They want to know about heirlooms and provenance. The luxury buyers, they want to hear about rarity. They want to hear about design prestige. They want to hear about exclusivity, that scarcity we have, right? The gifting wants to hear about the symbolism, the personalization, the sentiments. And the fashion want to hear about the bold colors, you know, the hot pink shoes and the hot pink stone to match, right? They want to hear about fashion, trend relevance, and freshness. So tailor your pitch to the audience so that you're communicating in a way that matters to them. And then you can empower them. And empowered buyers buy more. Second, lean into stories. A stone without a story is an SKU. How sexy is that? What you have to lean into is every single time you're presenting someone with the option of a gemstone, you have to lean into the story that matches their segment and arm them with the messaging and the language around that story. A stone with a story is a reason to buy. Think of it as a bundle. Anytime you present a stone, it's not enough. It's like giving someone the wheel to a car, but not the rest of the vehicle, right? Make sure that you have a data sheet, a sourcing sheet, a usage suggestion, display suggestions even. Make sure that you give them the entire story. Sell-through support is the place where, in our experience at Hill & Co., most wholesalers let the retailers down, right? Everything we do, we should be thinking about the shoes of the person to whom we sell and solving all the problems that they might have in bringing our product to market. So you can't just ship them the inventory and wish them good luck. You have to make sure that you provide them with meaning, narrative, and experience. Give them suggestions of how to display. Give them resources of where to get the displays. Give them visualizations. Arm them with the support to sell the stones. And the training for the retail can be not a heavy lift. It could be a voicemail on WhatsApp. It could be a PDF that you text through. Make sure that you provide them the support to sell all the way through. And lead with emotion. What the origin of a stone, the carat weight, that's all important, but it's not what closes a sale. What closes a sale is how you feel about it, right? Think of chrysoprase or rutilated quartz. They don't just look different. They feel different, and we have that. Communicate the emotion that you're conveying with each one of the stones. And finally, don't just package the product, package the concept. Are they looking to convey rarity? Are they looking to convey spirituality or personalization or uniqueness? Package the entire concept for them around the offer that you have in the gemstone that you're putting in front of them. These are the 5 steps that we really, really focus on to try to turn that potential client into someone that is empowered by gemstones. There are a couple of examples. Nina Runstoff did this so well with fashion. She had story-rich communications to fashion consumers, which was about that relevance and exclusivity that really created a sticky client base. And Misa Hara tapped into travel retail by doing tight, story-led capsule collections that turned very swiftly. Both of them succeeded with these because they leaned into storytelling. They sold stories, not stones. And stories turn swiftly and convert. And that's the thing about gemstones, right? People aren't just sold, they're converted. Another superpower we have is our ability to appeal to so many different age groups. Because let's again put ourselves in the shoes of each one of these generations. We're going to look at 3 key demographic groups today. Gen Z and millennials. They want uniqueness. They want specialness. They have values and they are curious. Where is this from? Is it traceable? Is it sustainable? Is it unique? We have ability to say yes to story for them and yes to rarity for them. And that resonates. For Gen X, we want to know value. We like customization, personalization, something that we know is unique to us. We can answer that question as gemstones. We have an interpretability that the white diamond doesn't have. And boomers, a still powerful spending group, are very often buying jewelry to mark or commemorate a moment in time or to capture a memory, right? And we can do that for them with something that has emotional specificity. And that's an amazing superpower. So the diamond industry has lost its myth-making ability with the younger consumer. And the older consumer is looking for that specificity. We can step right into this and fill up the space. Schottky Ellenwood does a fantastic job of really communicating to Gen Z about their ethical practices and what this says to people who care about wellness consciousness. And I love the combination when Fabergé and the co-marketing Fabergé and Gemfields did, matching the older generation's real appreciation and memory of Fabergé with the progress over perfection march towards more sustainable and better practices in mining. So this was a fantastic cross-generational opportunity that was capitalized on. So what is all this data telling us? It's not telling us to step in and take the place of diamonds with the strategies that diamonds used. That's not going to work for us. The value model of diamonds that has carried us through the past few decades is not going to bring us into the next one. It's based on efficiency, repetition, sameness. That doesn't work for gemstones. We need volume, yes, but we need to replicate frameworks, not SKUs. We can't anyway. They're all unique. What we have to scale is stories. Scale stories, scale tools, scale support, and sales will scale. We need to reframe the narrative and the model to a strategy that is suited only for us and can be leveraged only by us. So we shift it from price to purpose, from repetition to relevance, and we take advantage of the opportunity that has been left, the decade that has been left behind by diamonds. How do we do it? We've taken a look at the cracks in the diamond market. We've also identified the assets and the strengths that we have, the new consumers that we can target, untapped consumers. We've looked at how we appeal to so many different age groups, but how do we now put it into action? It's another so what. I ask so what a lot. So we like to take these 4 steps to bring us to leading the market to where we want them to be, which is really celebrating and enjoying and selling these gorgeous gemstones. So first, audit. Audit the way that you're approaching your buyers. Is your sales approach and your pitch the same as it was to gem dealers in the industry 10 years ago? Are you making it possible for new buyers, like the ones we talked about today, to be able to say yes to gemstones? Audit your pitch, segment it, and you will see that it will resonate. You don't need to overhaul your business. You just have to pressure test your pitch and make sure that you're addressing it while you're standing in the shoes of the customer you're talking to at that moment. Second, onboard them. Don't just give them a tray. Give them a toolkit. What's the story? How do you tell it? How do your retailers tell it? How do you tell it? How does the retail staff tell it? How do we train them? Where are the videos? Who can access it? How does the end consumer see it as well? Solve all their problems, think them through, and provide the solution. And you will be the supplier that sticks because you were part of the success. Educate. It's our job, right? If a tree falls in the forest and nobody heard it, it did not fall. We are the gemstone industry. It's our job to educate them about the stories, about the scarcity, about the sustainability, about all the rich tapestry that we can communicate in what is the decade of storytelling. So it's our job to educate them. And finally, curate. There's a gazillion gemstones. I heard so many names during the course of the last 3 days that I had never heard before. And I've been in the industry for 30 years. I know rutilated quartz. I know chrysoprase, but I might not be pronouncing them correctly. So we need to curate. Let's not give them 100 gemstones to choose from. Anyone can do small, medium, large. Extra, extra small, 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 medium, 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 large. No. It's too many choices. Curate. Be very good at being intentional. Don't sell more, sell better. Give them limited options where you can excel and solve all the problems for them, and then you will become the hero for that new buyer. And you will be able to lead them through the doorway that has opened. Now, let's go back to that door I talked to at the beginning. What got me that door in the end? Was it that I tried to do everything the way it always had been done, that I thought about what I needed in the sales that I wanted? No. Was it that I hustled more than anybody else? It wasn't even that. It's that I stepped into a gap, led by Ofer Azrielon. I stepped into a gap that wasn't occupied by anyone else. And the cracks in the diamond industry today have opened a door wide open to the retailer and to the end consumer that wasn't open this wide ever before. Now the question is, are you ready to walk through it? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Elle. You got me on surprise because you saved time for questions, which is amazing because I'm sure everyone wants to hear more about, it's not about the product, it is much about the story. And that's really something that the luxury industry has been embracing for a long time. And you are actually the best person to help us out with that. Are there any questions in the audience for Elle? I do have one.
Oh, yeah.
Because you said that...
sorry, I wanted to get back on the screen.
It's not about the price, but it's definitely about the emotions, the feelings. But in the different price categories of like more affordable budget jewelry with silver or 10 karat gold to the luxury branded of the big maisons of the Place Vendôme and other areas in the world, are the narratives different, as you told? So there are points that must be stressed on the higher end that are different than the lower end. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, please?
Sure. I mean, this is part of my analogy is that I don't talk to my 14-year-old son the same way that I talk to my husband, right? So every time that we're presenting an opportunity, I just wanted to go to the very last slide because I promised you guys might be able to do that. The way that we speak to someone has to take into consideration the shoes that they're standing in. If you're talking, as I said, to a legacy customer, they don't really care about, this is the QR code that I promised them for the slides. Thank you very much. They don't really care about symbolism. If you're talking to a fashion house, they care about exclusivity. They care about design prestige. You have to think about the things that, the problems that they're having, the solutions they need, and speak to that. If you're talking about price to somebody that's talking about rarity and exclusivity, which has a large price tag attached, and you're saying this is really cheap, your message is going to fall flat. So what we often do is think about what we want to sell and the targets that we have. Even salespeople, my boss really wants it. We've got a lot of amethyst. We got to get that out there. We can't think about what we want. We have to think about what does the person who has the ability to write the purchase order need? What's the problem that they're facing in their business? How does something that I have, and it might not be the amethyst, how does something that I have solve that problem? And now let me tell them what the solution is, how they can implement it, how I can help them explain that implementation to their boss so they can write the PO, to their team in the retail stores so they can sell it, so that we get a complete buy-in, and also the credit for being uniquely positioned to solve a problem for the person who can sign the purchase order.
So it would be fair to say that it is critical for a company to know who are they talking to? Who is their audience? Who is their target audience?
Right, and this is an excellent question, and we talk about this a lot at Hill & Co. Is knowing what you need to sell and all the features and attributes of what you're selling, the price point of the carats, or what kind of how it can be cut, whether it can be cabochon or it can be faceted. That's interesting, but what really you need to do more of is research the businesses to whom you are selling. Deepen the relationship, initiate, and then deepen the relationship with the buyers to understand what is their boss cracking the whip about? What are they nervous about? What struggles are they having? Research their business. What are they selling? What's not selling? Ask the right questions to get more information. Because if you don't know the problems that they're having, you can't solve them. You can't begin to give them a solution. So much more listening, much more research before you ever enter a store or a buying office with samples about what are their problems, what do you think they are. Bring it to the buyer before you even get there. Here's a presentation of what I saw on your website, in your store, and what I heard from your sales reps in the store. And here's 3 things, not more because we're curating, here's 3 things that might solve that problem for you. Or even before you get there, send it in a little PowerPoint and say, I think this is a problem you're having. Am I on to something? If not, no problem. I'll go back and I'll research you more, because I'm here to be uniquely positioned to solve a problem for you or create an opportunity for you. If it's ever about, I'm here to sell more rutilated quartz, you're sunk.
Oh, yes. I've got more questions because, there is a question from the floor. Because let me tell you, Elle, she's really high level. So this is almost a very huge opportunity for you to ask your questions for free. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Prerna Makharia. So I've noticed that a lot of customers treat gems and jewelry as a piece of commodity, or before even buying it, they want to know the resale value of it. So how, as a trader or a jeweler, you change their mindset, or like what are the key elements to change their mindset?
Okay, so the first thing is identifying. Are you talking to a 14-year-old or are you talking to your husband? Are you talking to a luxury retailer or are you talking to a big box? Their priorities are going to be totally different. So you have to first identify who you're talking to, and don't just assume you're right. Ask the questions. Take the time. Say their name. Everybody's favorite sound is their own name. And everybody likes to be asked questions about themselves and their problems and what they're facing that you can solve. So first, identify who you're talking to and ask questions and listen. Take notes and research. What are they facing? What is challenging them, or what's really working for them? So if they're automatically going to commodity, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe that makes sense. And maybe you need to take a look at that product that's treated that makes sense for them, right? But if they're serving ultra high net worth individuals and they're haggling with you on price, talk to them about the rarity. Talk to them about the exclusivity. Talk to them about what you heard from them because you researched and you listened what's important to their consumer.
Thank you very much. Just to wrap up, I've got more questions because it's a privilege to be with you. Would you recommend on a company, is it critical for the owner, the buyers, the sellers, the marketing professionals to invest in their own gemological education? It might not be laboratory techniques and scientific education, but more a normal gemological education. Would that make a difference?
Absolutely. This is the Meryl Streep school of, I live in analogies and I speak in analogies. So this is the Meryl Streep school of acting. She knows what color the toenails are of the woman who was The Devil Wears Prada, right? She knows exactly what church she went to when she was a kid and how she hated doing the sit, stand, kneel, sit, stand, kneel. She has so much of a backstory, Meryl Streep, when she plays a part, but we never hear it. We don't hear it, but it resonates. You smell authenticity and knowledge miles away through screens, across audio calls, and in person. So the more that you arm yourself with knowledge and understanding of the product that you're selling, and even more important, where it sits in the marketplace and where the white space is, the more they are going to trust you and know that you are not somebody that can sell them something that they want or need, but you're a resource of information for them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a very good answer. So thank you very much, Elle. It was so enlightening and so clarifying for all of us. I don't know if any of you are in the jewelry industry or more into the gemstone industry, in the mining, cutting, and wholesaling, but it's really great to see how the problems must be identified, and there are always solutions for that. So thank you very much, Elle. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome, Rui. Thank you.
So, wow. Part of my professional life deals exactly on how salespeople, marketing people, and buyers from companies must get education. They must understand gemology. They must understand the basics of our products that is based on gem materials. So it was really good to listen that education is critical. And we have here so many colleagues of ours that are involved in education very actively.